Have you ever taken a vacation and thought, I wish I could save money while spending it? Or maybe you were having fun doing personal activities and thought that it disqualifies you from a deduction. What if I told you there are ways to mix work and play and still save? Well, that's exactly what we'll discuss today. Hey there, tax warriors. Welcome to JDD Tax. I'm Brian Eustache, enrolled agent, tax strategist. But I call myself a taxtician, a tax tactician leveraging the tax code to the fullest extent. And with this segment of Tax Tactics, we're tackling a topic that gets many business owners tripped up: travel expenses. We're going to learn how to save money when you travel for your business. This is awesome because you can mix fun and work and still get a tax break. Making sure our travel has a business purpose is critical and a perfect opportunity for business owners to get a great tax write-off. Travel is a perfect opportunity to mix business and pleasure, yet writing off travel expense is one of the most underutilized tax deductions by small business owners today. If planned properly, a trip that includes business could be 100% deductible, even if there's some personal benefits included. In fact, even properly planned holiday travel can generate a significant tax deduction as a travel expense. This could include visiting family or going to a special romantic location around the US or worldwide, while attending a conference or doing other valid activities necessary for business helps you do so. However, in order to claim the travel deduction, there are some important rules to follow. Here are 4 steps to save money on your trips. 1, your trip needs to be for work. It should help your business grow or make money. 2, know the difference between a travel day, getting there, and a work day, doing actual business. 3, keep track of what you spend your money on. Also, if you'd like to see more tax content like this, hit the like and comment down below. Now, number 4, remember, money spent on eating out and driving around is different from travel costs. Check out my video on business meals deductions to know all about getting all your savings while eating out. Let's look how the IRS defines travel. An individual is traveling away from home if duties require them to be away from the general area of their tax home for a period substantially longer than any ordinary day's work, and they need to get sleep or rest to meet the demands of work while away. Generally, a tax home is the entire city or general area where the main place of business or work is located, regardless of where the individual maintains a family home. For example, a person lives with family in Florida, but works in Boston, where he stays in a hotel and eats in restaurants. He returns to Florida every weekend, but the taxpayer may not deduct any of the travel, meals, or lodging expenses in Boston because it's his tax home. The travel to the family home in Florida is not for work, so those expenses are also not deductible. If a person regularly works in more than one place, the person's tax home is the general area where the main place of business or work is located. Now be careful. There are some rules that might trip you up, like why your trip needs to be for work. Making sure your travel has a business purpose is critical. Travel expenses are 100% deductible when traveling for business if they are ordinary and necessary for you in order to increase revenue, profit, or build your business in a constructive way. If your trip helps your business, you can save all the money you spend on getting there and staying there. Finding a good work reason for your trip isn't hard. Here's some good ideas. You could go to a workshop or a conference. You could have a big meeting for your company. Also, you could visit a customer or a place where you get your business supplies or a vendor. You could look at a property you might want to rent out. Now, another tricky one is travel days versus the work days. Like, what are they? The travel days are the day you're traveling to get to your business activity. could save money on these days. Now, work days are the day you're actually doing your business work. A work day counts if you work for at least 4 hours on that day. Now, weekends and holidays is something else to look at. If your work days are right before and after a weekend or holiday, you can count those days as work days too. However, in order for a taxpayer to qualify for this rule, they must complete the trip within a reasonable time frame, meaning you can't have extra days laying around in the sun. And the business day activities over multiple days couldn't be combined into one particular business day. Essentially, you got stuck in that city over the weekend because the meetings or activities needed to take place on both Friday and Monday. There are also days when your presence is required, like when a taxpayer is traveling for business on multiple days. An exception to the 4 hour workday rule is when a business owner's presence is required. If a taxpayer is required to stay overnight for an important meeting or presentation the next day, even if it's not for 4 hours, the result is a deductible travel business day. A taxpayer can also count as a travel business day any day when circumstances beyond their control prevent them from actively pursuing the business purpose of their trip. Let me give you an example. A taxpayer is traveling to New York for a business meeting on Tuesday, and they arrive in the city the night before on Monday. However, a snowstorm hits the city and delays the taxpayer's meetings until Friday. While the taxpayer is stuck in New York, going to museums, shows, or restaurants that are still open, patiently waiting for their meeting on Friday, the extra days being stranded are deductible travel business days. Now, the other question you're all asking is probably, what can I save money on? Okay, deductible travel expenses while away from home include the costs of the following: travel by airplane, trains, bus, or car between home and business destinations, fares for taxis, Ubers, Lyfts, also between the airport or train station and the hotel and the work location, and from one customer to another customer, or from one place of business to another. You also have lodging expenses like hotels and Airbnbs. Also, any tips paid for services related to any of these expenses are also deductible, even dry cleaning and laundry. Any other similar ordinary and necessary expenses related to business travel can be expensed and deducted. But remember, like I explained in my business meal video in the description below, you can only save 50% of what you spend on meals, and no entertainment costs are able to be written off, or any tickets or fines you get while traveling. Now, remember to talk to your tax professional, because someone like a tax strategist can help you figure out how to prorate or allocate if a trip is a blend of personal time and qualifies for business travel as well. So if the trip is deemed to be 15% personal, and a taxpayer could get 85% of the travel expenses written off when calculated properly. While travel in the United States is a little more cut and dry into the rules, travel outside the United States has a little more flexibility. A taxpayer may deduct 100% of travel expenses if traveling outside the United States and spends the entire time on business activities. Now, even if the taxpayer does not spend the entire time on business activities, the trip is considered entirely for business if the taxpayer meets any of the following exceptions. One, they did not have substantial control over arranging the trip. Two, the taxpayer is outside the United States for a week or less, combining business and non-business activities. Three, the taxpayer spends less than 25% of the total time the taxpayer is outside the United States on non-business activities. The taxpayer can establish that a personal vacation is not the major consideration, even if the taxpayer has substantial control over arranging the trip. What about some general rules of thumb for travel in both the United States and outside? No matter where the travel is, here are some tips to remember to ensure you have a write-off. Make sure every day of your trip has a clear work purpose. Keep all your receipts and notes about your work meetings. Simply looking for places to buy won't count unless you do something like make an offer on the property or visiting a property you already own, or better yet, working on the rental property physically and personally meeting with property managers, contractors, or tenants. Also, work that you could do at home doesn't count for saving on travel. Like if you went to Spain just to send emails and make phone calls, it doesn't count. And cruises, they're hard to count as business travel. So try to keep it limited to traveling to actual locations. Don't try to save on every single trip. Make sure it makes sense for your business. Always do some work each day you're on your trip and keep track of it. The more you earn from your business, the more you can save on your trips. If you plan your trips with both work and fun in mind and keep good records of everything, you're opening the door to great tax savings. That's how JDB Tax Strategy helps business owners legally save money on taxes without fear of the IRS by leveraging the tax code to the fullest extent. After booking a consultation call with us at jdbtax.com, we'll build a personalized battle plan to minimize your tax burden and maximize your wealth. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and click all to join me on this epic quest to conquer taxes and claim your financial throne. I post tax tactics every Tuesday and Thursday. See you next time, tax warriors.